Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Celebrity Natal Charts. Today, we're going to be looking at the natal chart of Neymar da Silva Santos Jr., or you might just know him simply as Neymar, whose birthday is February 5th, 1992, year of the monkey, water monkey, I believe. I'm not getting better at lunar astrology, I just very familiar with 1992. Commonly known as Neymar, is a Brazilian footballer who plays for Spanish club FC Barcelona in La Liga and the Brazilian national team as a forward or winger. At the age of 19, Neymar won the 2011 South American Footballer of the Year award. After coming third in 2010, he followed this up by winning again in 2012. In December 2013, Neymar was ranked by The Guardian as the sixth best football player in the world, which kind of goes hand in hand with what I believe of the monkey, specifically the water monkey. They're very Doogie Howser. They experience a lot of success early on in their lives, and their lives are somewhat like easy, you know. I'm sure anybody would argue me saying that their life is easy. They're like, oh, my life hasn't been easy, but um, you know, uh, I don't know why this is always my reference, but I'm like, well, it's not like you had to be Anne Frank, like stuck in an attic. So your life is actually probably very easy in comparison to that extremity. But that's what's going on there. Excuse me. Okay, so that's how I feel about him being a monkey and his life is super easy. But then this is also sort of reiterated by his chart because he has the rising Sagittarius. So this is the Aquarius rising Sagittarius video. Which Sagittarius, I always think of like a leprechaun, a four-leaf clover. I don't know, other lucky Bakaneko, like other lucky mythical beings, other than just like centaurs, because it's ruled by Jupiter, which is a planet of luck and fortune. So him being a water monkey, achieving all this success at like a relatively young age, basically going by a first name rather than a full name like Cher, I would say is like pretty lucky. His rising Sagittarius probably looks lucky, feels lucky. His teammates probably look at him as like a good luck charm. Um, yeah, so that's the rising Sagittarius. And then so in his so that's his first house. So it looks lucky, is lucky, acts lucky. People like maybe even call him lucky. If you did an etymology on his name, maybe his name even means just somebody that is lucky. I haven't, and I didn't, and I don't know, and I don't know Portuguese, so. Um, but his second house, or the second house of Capricorn, so his biggest, so other than just being lucky, his biggest priority should be, um, you know, having like a being very business savvy. Not to say that he isn't, but if he isn't, that should be his priority. And I mean, like, in life, you might think like your biggest priority for certain individuals is like taking care of your children or your wife or your dog or, just other, whatever. Um, and for him, in this reading, how I see it is that in order to do those things, so, if he has like a really big green initiative, he just, like I keep saying, like save the whales. Wants to save the rainforest or save the whales or whatever it is, like a philanthropic uh, chip on his shoulder. His the only way that he's able to do that is like by starting a business and getting involved in like capitalism with the Capricorn here, because he also has Venus and Mars in Capricorn, so he already acts like a Capricorn. He acts like a Capricorn. He attracts like a Capricorn. Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn. So maybe he does have a business or has started a business, because I keep saying that Neptune is the TV antenna or the TV sign. And with him winning these awards at 19, I'm gonna go ahead and say that probably by 17, he was probably on television at some point, probably playing soccer. That could have been, or that could have been the age that he was introduced to the concept of that being possible. Uranus and Capricorn says that his potential for business is limitless. Should be doing something involved with television. Um, he probably falls in love with the people that he does business with. So if he's attracted to someone, their looks might be okay. It's something he's like, oh, you look great. A lot of good looking people out in the world. There might be like I'm thinking about this like Neymar on The Bachelor. You know what I mean? So it's like Neymar Bachelor is like a very beautiful woman. It's like okay, well, a lot of women are beautiful. Very smart woman. I don't know. She designed some rocket and went to the moon. A lot of women are smart. Or women, men. I'm not. I don't know. Aquarius probably goes back and forth. Uh, you know, um, whatever good things that people have in relationships. You're like, oh, hey, that's good. You know how to cook. That's amazing. I like food. But the thing that, like, if he were to have a Flavor Flav show or to be on The Bachelor, the thing that he would find the most attractive is like, this is, you know, Mindy Millionaire, and she is the CEO and founder of, corporate cupcake company, and she has like billions and trillions of dollars, and her name is actually a misnomer. She's not a millionaire. She's a billionaire. So that's what it took me 45 minutes to say. Um, yeah, so that's all in his second house. So it's all revolving around money too. So he's like very attracted to money. He's attracted to people who are attracted to money. He acts like he's attracted to money. Um, and sometimes, because even like sometimes I tell people, I'm like, like some people are LGBTQAI plus, and some people are only attracted to dollar signs. And for him, it's not even necessarily like dollar signs. It's like dollar signs and contracts and just like the corporate world in general. Maybe he never wanted to be a soccer player. Maybe he wants to be some type of businessman. He does have a North Node in Capricorn as well that is reversed. So just to completely contradict what I just said, maybe he never wanted to be a businessman, but he really needs to be. It's his biggest priority. So it's like, I never want to be a stuffed shirt and a suit. I'm gonna go play soccer. And then you go and you play soccer and you become famous, and then there becomes a business behind selling the product that is you. So if you wanted to have like Neymar shoes and Neymar pants and Neymar hats, like he doesn't even have the choice but to be a business. Yeah, I was kind of like slamming Jay Z in one of my other videos, but like, so he's like, I'm not a businessman, I am a businessman, and it's sort of like that kind of that energy. And then in his third house of Aquarius, where his sun is as well, Sun, Saturn, and Mercury, saying to me that he sounds weird when he talks. He sounds weird. I mean, like I'm one to talk. It takes one to know one. Mercury in the third house, he talks a lot probably, and sounds weird, and or probably might have like an accent or something, or because he's so international, it might be difficult for him to acclimate to accents or foreign languages, which because he also has Saturn here, that it's a limitation for him. So as I'm saying that, like, it's his biggest priority to be good in business, making friends, talking to his friends, being, talking about business to his friends or to people on a large scale is a limitation for him. And solely or mostly predominantly because of the way he looks. So he has a lot of issues with his like self-esteem and how he looks, and it doesn't tell me how tall he is, but it sort of kind of seems like how tall he is too in comparison to his other family members, which has been a limitation. He might not talk to his family as much. He might not look like them either. Like they might look very different, act very different, probably even speak different languages, which might make him a little bit sad. Like his wife or something might um, speak a different language than him. And then in his fourth house of Pisces, where we also have the moon. So I'm very familiar with the water monkey moon in Pisces, um, which to me says that like he likes to go by different names and aliases. So he might not have a famous name or alias, like he might not have like a rap, a SoundCloud account on a rap name, like you know, big name money or something. But when he goes out to eat, when he orders food, when he meets random people, he probably uses a fake name and an alias, which is probably you'll probably see Pisces Moon for a lot of celebrities. Basically, talking about that, even though I do talk about Neptune and Pisces being like the television sign, probably has a really good relationship with his mother. Mother's probably very loving. But the thing about Pisces is that especially with the Pisces mother, or Pisces energy in relationship to your mother, is that there's still like a lot of sadness there, a lot of sadness, a lot of emotions, but a lot of caring and nurturing, and probably good meals as well. And as we move right along into his fifth house of Aries, which a lot of the drama and trauma in his life is happening in his second house, revolving around his finances, probably working through like contracts with commercials and dealing with his friends and enemies and lovers. So honestly, we should have spent more time in the second house, but we're trying to get through the rest of the chart. And we might circle back. His fifth house of Aries is like he might have like anger issues, may need anger management. Um, uh, like I said, like he has a lot of issues with like the way he looks. So he might be angry about the way he looks. He might be angry about the way he sounds. And so the way that he's supposed to come over this or overcome this obstacle of not feeling good enough, or it's almost like Aries in the fifth house. Or maybe I should like Google how tall he is. Aries in the fifth house does sound like a short man complex, and the way that he's supposed to get over it, I guess some people say Napoleon complex, but like we're trying to be not ignorant forever, and apparently like Napoleon was like 5'10", and I mean like 5'10" is okay, but maybe he wants to be like 6'8", you know what I mean? uh you don't you know what I mean, like people will be mad about things, so like he might be 5'9" and really want to be 5'11", or he's 5'11" and he wants to be 5'9", like he might actually want to be shorter than what he actually is. But Aries in the fifth house definitely gives me like this little man complex, which you can be 10 feet tall and have a little man complex. And the way that he's supposed to get over that anger and frustration about the way that he looks or his height is with his sixth house in Taurus, which the sixth house talks about things you're supposed to work on, how you can heal, how to bring healing into your life, which says to me like a lot of his battle throughout his existence is going to be his money and his finances with the sixth house in Taurus. So it's like he needs to get better at connecting with the little people, like farmers and agriculturalists and things like that might need to take some type of healing trip. This makes me think of like Asheville, North Carolina, where it's like you go to like a healing spring or spa. Um, and it's really weird to be in the sixth house with Taurus and talking about like metaphysics or whatever, because maybe just needs to go stay out on a farm, some type of like alternative therapy, like farm life therapy, or it actually makes me think of like city slickers. And I guess maybe I should look at more than just their astro charts bio before doing these readings, but that's supposed to be part of the charm, is that I know nothing about them. But it's like going to go live on a farm will bring him a lot of healing. I get the feeling of like city slickers, like maybe he has never experienced that. Perhaps it's something he experienced in his younger days and he misses and needs to take a couple steps backwards to move forward. And then in his seventh house, he has Gemini. And, all pop astrologers talk so much internet astrologers talk so much garbage about Gemini, but they're supposed to be a really good match for Sagittarius, at least the rising Sagittarius, as they are opposites. And the thing is about like your opposite sign is that you usually can't stand them. They usually hate them. You like Chinese food. They like pizza. You want to paint the walls red, they want to paint the walls blue. Um, but, maybe your room would look better if it were purple. Maybe you would be better off cooking at home than arguing over pizza or Chinese food. And then also, what is coming to me right now about his seventh house, or just in general about the seventh house, is that it's that person, or like Gemini, so not just a Gemini lover or Gemini whatever, Gemini friends, Gemini family members, his family in general, increase his abilities of attraction. So the third house, where he has Sun, Mercury, and Venus, this is like what he speaks into existence. Um, or this is where he's supposed to like conjure the energy to speak his manifestations into existence. And he has limitations around that. Maybe he lives in a place where he doesn't feel like he can really raise his voice. Like if he speaks, too many people will hear him. Like there's a lot of people around him or something like that. Could be like a locker room. And so I say manifestation and blah blah blah. Prayer. Uh, and I don't know, like I feel like a soccer team, they probably pray together, right? Or maybe they just are from different faiths, or he doesn't feel comfortable saying the prayers that he wants to say. Maybe sometimes with games he hopes he loses. But yep, that's what I see. Oh, and then so the seventh house is like what you are attracting. So like from his limitations with his language and his self-esteem about the way he looks. Which there's a picture of him here. He don't look that bad, but he does have bleach blonde hair, which is sort of like, you know, kind of seems a little self-hatredy to me. Um, so what are we talking about? Okay, so like so what he is attracting is like partners and a bigger family. So it's funny that he doesn't go, isn't well known by his last name. But perhaps the Silva Santos family is very big, and he sort of like it sort of gives me the feeling of like 101 Dalmatians, where it's like he's not talking to his family. He doesn't talk to his family a lot, but he talks about his family a lot, and they can hear him. Like they use telepathy or something. So even though they might speak different languages or different dialects, be in different countries and have a bunch of limitations as to how they can communicate with each other, they still understand from like facial gestures and jokes and things that are esoteric to them. And talking about esoterica and secrets and the occult, we have the eighth house here, which is in Cancer. Really good chart, Like I was looking at the Justin Timberlake chart, and by the time I got to the eighth house, which is like the astrology house, Scorpion house, Justin Timberlake had a eighth house in Pisces, and I was like, oh, this is almost like a black card, like a celestial black card. Like you've been through a lot of horrible trauma, just like the African American diaspora. With his eighth house in Cancer, which by the time I get to the fourth house of Pisces, I probably should have known that his eighth house was going to be in Cancer. But I'd like to be very serendipitous and like I don't know anything, um, as just like let things intuitively come to me. But eighth house in Cancer talks about like his mother being attracted or involved in like occult magic, and even his fourth house in Pisces talked a lot about his mother, as the fourth house does. But this also talks about like his wants, wishes, and desires. So, maybe when it comes to like love and relationships and marriage, he's looking for a partner that reminds him of his mother, who's like God fearing and all those things, all those eighth house things, does their taxes, knows about astrology, loves God. Um, but then also with this eighth house Cancer, likes to take his photo, help him out with Instagram or social media. Um, Probably also like help him forget about his mother and heal from his like trauma. Also like act out as like a nurse. So what he really wants, wishes, and desires is like his mommy, but also like a nurse. That's like his greatest wish and to have in life is like a partner who is also a nurse. Which, as a soccer player or former soccer player, he probably does have a lot of injuries, and it's like it would be really nice to have a partner that would like cook and clean and heal my wounds. And I even saw with like Justin Timberlake, maybe this is an Aquarius thing. I don't know, is Hugh Grant an Aquarius? Where it's like they want like a partner who is also the help. And I'm sorry if the term the help is derogatory or something, but that's just like how it's coming to me. And I was rewatching my Justin Bieber video, or just I keep calling him Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake video, and this came to mind where it's like he sort of has like a made in Manhattan fantasy where it's like he wants to meet somebody from not famous, not wealthy, and connect with them spiritually or emotionally or sexually. We're gonna pretend like the eighth house isn't about sex. So that's what I see, or maybe even like a woman that already has children. Eight, nine. Okay, so in his ninth house he has Leo. So the ninth house to me does talk more about like long-term relationship. An astrologer told me that the ninth house is about long-term relationships. As I was saying it out loud, sometimes to me it does kind of sound more like a long-distance relationship. But this is supposed to be the house of like weddings, long-term relationships, where the seventh house is supposed to be like love affairs and partnerships and business partnerships and friendship. Um, and he has Leo, and he also has Chiron, which says to me like he might be like really good, like a celebrity matchmaker, like hooking other people up, but has difficulty finding love for himself. And as a water monkey with the moon in Pisces, he probably is better off alone. Um, because if he is involved in a marriage with Leo in his ninth house, it might be somewhat of like a Hollywood. I wouldn't say necessarily like a lavender marriage, but like it's some type of like Hollywood marriage for fame, So he might be in love with this woman that reminds him of his mother, who might not have a lot of money, but when it comes to marriage, he might marry some like very wealthy, famous woman or person, whatever. And it's sort of like his tied into his destiny. She might be involved with politics, but it will happen very like serendipitous, auspiciously out of nowhere. Um, and in his 10th house, so he's the 10th house of Virgo. Also, you have Jupiter and Virgo there too. Which Jupiter and Virgo. Oh, I'm very familiar with the water monkey, Jupiter and Virgo, Pisces moon. This says to me that like, so this is how I interpret Jupiter and Virgo, is that from like chasing pennies and doing like small menial task and work, it's how you fortify your wealth. So, I guess he's been playing soccer, I assume before, a little bit before and after being 19 years old. This says to me like him working like in a coffee shop, food service, on a farm, as I saw with his sixth house in Taurus, would bring him a lot of luck. So, like, I guess in between, and it could even be, like how Donald Trump was working at McDonald's, you know what I mean? Like, what do you call it? Like a press moment or a photo op or something like that, like doing something very charitable and giving good service to people will bring him a lot of good luck and fortune. Um, but also with Jupiter there, is that Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So it's like also sort of like deprogramming your mind from this sort of like slave mentality where it's like, I have to scrub floors to make money. But it could be a really big part of his story where he's like, I had to have two jobs or something to find funding for something or whatever. I should go watch. The thing is, like, most of these people, I'm like, oh, I don't know their lives, don't want to know their lives. Just look at their chart. That's how you get the most authentic and accurate reading. Because if you were to, if you, um, you know, um, Quentin Quarant or, you know, uh, uh, curious Caroline who wants wants a reading, um, I would know there wouldn't be a biopic for me to watch of your life. I would just read your chart. But his life, just looking at his chart, I'm like, I would be very interested to watch a biopic or just to see what his life has been like. Maybe it's because the Pisces moon and the monkey and the Jupiter and Virgo, but I would just really like to know, like, was he working in hotels? What was his younger life like? Because it seems like it would be very an interesting arc. But back to Venus, or back to Jupiter and Virgo. So like I said, like working on a farm, doing like very menial tasks, maybe in like factory work. That type of stuff could make him feel good or lower his anxiety. Virgo is also like working in a pharmacy as a nurse, dealing with medicine, and expanding that view. So if Neymar at some point worked at a pharmacy where he got little old ladies their pills, um, eventually expanding that energy, he could open up like a chain of pharmacies or a chain of coffee shops, some type of farm, like a farm to table restaurant where the farm isn't behind, on the roof of the restaurant or something like that, all around the world, all around the universe. And that could be part of his destiny too. With his midheaven is like right in between. I guess there's degrees. Let's look at the degrees. It's like right in between Virgo and Leo, but I guess it's like 0 degrees in Virgo. So it's like right there. So he's going to be like very famous for. I mean, also playing soccer is very Page of Pentacles, very Virgo. So um, he could start his own soccer team or own soccer league. Um, I don't know. I don't really know too much about soccer, but soccer. If you know about tarot cards and the Page of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, it very much is like the king, like the princess of toys, the boy of toys, the woman of toys, the man of toys, and toys being soccer balls, yo-yos, silver coins, dollars. The money game, whatever. So pentacles or financial green energy can be anything from what you use to get that money or the actual money itself. So even like working at a bank, like starting a chain of banks could be good for him as well. And as we step into his 11th house of a Libra, which says to me that he either has like a lot of crushes on his friends typically have crushes on him. He's very attracted to his friends. And so I'm assuming he's straight. I don't know. I feel like whoever he ends up with would at least be like a long hair dress wearer. Um, and I would say that he would, so, I was talking about his second house in Capricorn, where it's like, he wants to date Mindy Millionaire who is, owns her own business and everything. That is very important, but also he wants to be best friends with him as well. So it's not just like a gold digger, like, oh, you have to be rich and have money and know how to set up a business of your own, but it's like we also have to be really good friends because that's the only thing he's attracted to is through friendship and kinship and things like that. And Mr. How do you say his last name? De Silva Santos, he has a 12th house in Scorpio and Pluto in Scorpio as well. Which says to me that sometimes he gets so sad that he wants to die. Which I mean, that happens. It might be something that he says very often. That could also be like one of the limitations in his third house. Um, you know, when he prays, he might pray wrong. He might say his prayers wrong, like dear Jesus, I hope I don't die or something like that. Where it's like you're supposed to use like positive things, like you know, um, oh man, I hope like dear God, I hope you go out in this field and I hope you don't lose today. And it's like, no, Neymar, you're supposed to be like, dear God, I hope you win, you know? So that could be like the limitation with his speech that I see there. He might have a lot of grief and unresolved trauma with like the passing of friends. And being famous, being popular, it's actually one of like Aquarius is the sign of a popularity. So is Leo. They're opposites. Um, Aquarius, I guess, sometimes end up being more like infamous than famous, depending on how sinister they can be. But this says to me that, uh, I mean, Pisces in the 12th house, Scorpio in the 12th house. It's like he thinks about death a lot, and he thinks about how life has changed a lot. For me, okay, this is Aquarius, the Knight of Swords, right? So if you know about tarot, which you should, if you're watching tarot based natal chart, whatever videos, the Knight of Swords, like some people look look back in anger, which in my 2025 videos I talk about a lot. People who look back in anger, like the Oasis song, so pictures of the past make them angry. Oh my God, there's a photo from me when I was 13 and my teeth were messed up. I'm angry. I don't want to look at that. Whereas the Knight of Swords reversed, to me, is somebody who looks optimistically into the future, but it could also be a person who looks into the future in anger. Like, oh, these kids today and their motorized scooters and their hover packs. When I was a kid, I had to avoid cow pies on a farm. So that like and then whatever energy that he feels from that, uh, I guess it's also, when you look at the future, it's a reminder that you're gonna die soon because it's like, oh, back in my day, I mean, he's 1992, but back in my day, we had to pay 25 cents at a payphone to make a call, and now kids walk around with 4K camera phones in their pocket, being able to create videos can get a lot of attention. You could become a famous soccer star these days from a trick video and not even have to be involved in professional soccer. So maybe that's something that he thinks about, like things like AI, like being a painter and having spent your entire life to create paintings and blend colors and like what is it, like Michelangelo or whatever, and he like had to go and find, go to was it Afghanistan and find lapis lazuli just to create a certain shade of blue. And nowadays it's like you just find the hex code on Google and then you use it for your image or whatever that you do. Or you have AI images and AI paintings. So that's an energy that's going on in his 12th house where he feels very uncertain about the future, um, and is made very miserable by his own sense of mortality. Which, you might be thinking, like, okay, I don't have a 12th house in Scorpio, but, death scares me too. um, but I think for him it's a little bit more intense. And I guess you think about it being a soccer player, traveling, he probably gets on a lot of planes. He's probably like, in transit a lot. So there probably are a lot of times where he's like praying to God for his life and for victory and to get rid of people in his family that are trying to sabotage him, which seems to be like the arc of his life. And then just back into his first house of Sagittarius and being the rising Sagittarius. I mean, being a rising Sagittarius denotes everything that I just said. But also, I just don't feel like I said enough about it. I think it's a good positioning. Got the rising Sagittarius with the sun in Aquarius. This says to me that this person's life is about games. You know what I mean? Like, if he was 3 years old and they brought Neymar Santos to me for a natal chart reading, he's a rising Sagittarius, I'm like, oh, he's going to be like some type of like a athlete or whatever, an athlete or a professional poker player, which is still sort of like an athlete, some shape or form, professionally playing poker, athlete, lucky guy, Buddhist, might have like a really big belly, might gain a lot of weight at some point in his life. Um, there's one astrology site that you look up charts and they tell you like their height and everything. That's what I should look up for him because his height seems to be like a really big deal in his chart. But that's not what this is about. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Um, if you know of a Neymar biopic, please like suggest one to me because I'm so interested to actually see what his life is about because it seems like it's very interesting. and I hope to see you, or I hope for you to listen to me in my next video. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.